What's up, everybody? Aloha, everybody. Aloha. Welcome to the Coconut Wireless. Um, awesome. Welcome to the show, guys. Welcome to the show. We got a special show tonight, and we got Uncle Charlie here, and we got a very special guest from the Hawaii Tourism Authority. So let's. All right, folks. As I stated, we have a very special guest tonight, and it is Mr. Daniel Nahoopii. But let's bring on my co-host for the night, Uncle Charlie. What's up, Uncle Charlie?
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Aloha Friday to each and every one of you. I'm so glad to be here, Mel. I'm excited. I'm really excited for tonight's special guest. And I like to say, by the way, I want to thank him when he comes on. I'm going to thank him because he's actually in LA right now, attending
Oh,
that special conference with the governor and a whole bunch of other top-notch officials. And he just came back from the Big Island with the conference that had up in Waikoloa with the Native Hawaiian conference. So I
oh,
just
yeah, that
I just want
was
to say thank you.
that
He's
was
been
a
doing a lot of traveling. Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's a big conference. I heard it was a very successful conference. I hope you guys can all hear me. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Okay, I got a new mic, and I'm just testing it out. So I want you guys to let me know if you can hear me. Okay, if you can hear Charlie. Okay, I want to welcome Stephanie, Auntie Steph, Patty, and Nani Silva. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
So I wanted to. What the heck was that? Oh, casualties over here.
Yeah.
Wow, that was crazy. It's like the boogeyman. The
Very
boogeyman is here.
scary.
Anyway, oh, okay, Stephanie here. Oh, of course, Auntie Patsy is on tonight as well. Let's bring on Daniel. How about if we just bring on Daniel? Aloha, my man.
Hey,
Aloha, Daniel.
aloha. How's things going over there?
Oh, it's going great. It's going great.
Great.
Thank you so much. I know you're in. Charlie just said you're in California, so
Yeah,
it's a
I'm
it's
actually
a
down
little
here.
late.
Oh, it's actually 10 p.m. here.
Yeah.
Sorry, this little delay. Yeah, I'm here in Los Angeles. We're here to reintroduce Hawaii to the people of Southern California. We're here to thank them for all the support they've given in our efforts for recovery from COVID and then recovery from the Maui wildfire disasters. But more importantly, we're here to remind them to come visit our Hawaiian Islands, rediscover our Hawaiian Islands. And this couldn't have been done without the support of the public funding that was received from the Hawaii Tourism Authority. And we've partnered with our private sector, hotels, tour operators, and many of the small businesses that we brought up here. And we're actually offering deals and value driven packages to the people here in Southern California.
Well, Daniel, thank you for joining us again. I know it's 10 o'clock, and I know we're gonna have a lot to talk about, but I want to take a step back and ask you to introduce yourself.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
it's like, okay, people are wondering who is this guy?
Okay, let me.
who is this? So let me I'll turn it over to you, and you can introduce yourself. I think everybody's familiar with the Hawaii Tourism Authority, but let us hear a little bit about from you and explain to us what you do over there, and what does the HTA does do for us here in Hawaii.
Sure. So let's start with a little bit about me. So, Daniel Nahoopii. I actually live in Kaimuki on Oahu, but my mother's family is actually from Kauai. And then this is a Kauai show. The He's, and everybody knows the He's. And some of them have been kind of problematic, but from Kapa'a and Waipoli store, that's my family. That's my grand my grandmother's brother and my cousins, etc. So there's a tie there to Kauai. So anyway, I am the interim president and CEO of the Hawaii Tourism Authority. I've been in this position well over a year now. I was doing private sector consulting in tourism development and marketing research. and I came back on board to the Hawaii Tourism Authority at the beginning of last year. And if you don't know what the Hawaii Tourism Authority is, and you've had questions, so we are the state agency responsible for holistically managing the visitor industry and ensuring that the visitor industry creates economic development for to drive state revenue to the state and foster the general fund, but at the same time, it's balancing it with community needs, business needs, and ensuring that in the end, tourism contributes positively to our residents and our residents' way of life.
Awesome, awesome. Uncle Charlie, again, mahalo for making the connection with you and Auntie Steph. There's. Let me just say this. I just got back too a couple of hours ago from Oahu for our State Association of Counties conference, our annual conference, and our keynote speaker at last night's dinner was Walter Dodds, amazing man, and a lot of the discussion throughout the years at the different counties are the impacts of tourism. And I know we'll get into that, but Mr. Dodd said something very powerful. He said, I know a lot of people, they talk about tourism, and I've said it numerous times that if anyone thinks that we're going to get rid of tourism, they're terribly misinformed. It's not going to happen. But Walter Dodd said, if any of you people think that you guys want to replace tourism, don't think about it until you have an industry that can take its place. And I thought that was really powerful coming from one of the top business leaders in the history of our state. But Charlie, let me just real quick, Charlie, because your lovely wife and yourself have been involved in the tourist industry for some time. But and again, folks, if you guys have questions, I wanna ask you guys, put a Q and a colon before your question, because it's a lot easier for me to find it in as these comments scroll. So just put a Q and a colon, and then put your question for Daniel, and I'm sure he'll be more than happy to answer it. So, Charles.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
okay. Where did my man go now? Okay, there we
W-
go.
There we go. Well, first of all, aloha no, and again, aloha Daniel. As a, I have to do a full disclosure, and you said it. Yes, my lovely wife Stephanie does sit on the Hawaii Tourism Authority board. So just as a disclosure, but she's been very respectful that what's ever discussed at their level stays with them, and I want it that way because, as you know, Mel, when I spent my time during those tumultuous times on the Kauai Police Commission, I had to also keep things. Sometimes it was kind of painful to keep things from her, but it was because of the sensitivity of certain things that was especially discussed in executive session. So I just wanted to make that full disclosure right now that both she and I appreciate her. I miss her when she goes to Honolulu because in this day and age, there's so many crazy things happening. So when I had the opportunity to travel with her and drop her off at the convention center, it was much emotionally it was much easier for me. But now staying back on Kauai and watching her travel. And I'm glad she's only there for a day. Try 2 days, I might go a little bit cuckoo. I might go a little bit cuckoo. But when it was said that this gentleman that we have on with us tonight, he looks really familiar. I'm gonna ask him the question. Did you dance for Nakamale before with Robert
I'm
Casimiro?
still dancing with Nakamale.
I kind
I
of knew
can,
it because my classmate, well, he's an older classmate by 2 years, uh, Michael Crab.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
and his
crab family.
brother, yeah, his brother Moses was my classmate at Kamehameha. So I'm glad to have you on tonight. But I think we're gonna start by I'm gonna ask some tough questions, and I'm gonna apologize first because I'm kind of thinking outside of the box and how some people that maybe might not see tourism the way that many of us in the industry, because we know what drives our economy. And like what Mr. Dodd said, if you can find an industry, because we knew that ag business went out the door when sugarcane went out. That was one of the number one driving forces back then. So now we've got our tourist industry. What would you be able to tell the people about how HTA is handling tourism, and what can we look forward to? Because everything they're talking about, destination management, managing tourism correctly, like what they're doing in Haena on Kauai,
Mhm.
by managing how many people can visit a certain area. But you're doing it on a much larger scale that goes across the entire state. So why don't you give our viewers some glimpse of your take on it? Your take on it.
Sure. So, first of all, it's how do we look at tourism to benefit the state of Hawaii and residents, right? So, um, in the past, tourism was almost extractive in the sense of, people just come, lie on the beach, maybe do a little here and there. And there's a lot of impact because they're hiking or they're consuming a lot of our food or et cetera. But we want to change that brand and concept and model of tourism here in Hawaii to be more regenerative and part of the circular economy, the sustainability that's talked about in agriculture as well, where it's still the tourism industry and it's still visitors coming to the state of Hawaii. But when they're here, they're doing things that positively impact the community. We're encouraging more local food production to go into the hotels. We encourage visitors to spend on local businesses. We we're looking at empowering local small businesses and community groups to actually use the tourism revenue and the visitors that are here to help them along, to do volunteerism, to get people to help on these nonprofits where they need some manpower, or just to contribute dollars and donations. So it's shifting that whole mindset of tourism, and that's what we've been working on. And we're looking at maybe within the next 5 years, the kinds of things that you see here in Hawaii will be very different when the visitor comes. They're going to want to come to Hawaii because it's a cultural place. It's much more of an environmental known place, and also a place of the people and of and that's why they want to come to Hawaii and be a part of our community and interact with our residents and support our residents.
Okay. Well, thank you. I got
Mhm.
I heard you say something, I'm kind of gravitating towards HTA's role in getting this mindset in place and done. So I'm assuming that we're talking about even funding on how to get
Yes.
that message out, right? But now in nowadays, because with the economy being as tight as it is, everybody wants to know, well, what's our return on investment? What's our ROI, right? And I see that down at the airport. If we spend to do this type of program, what kind of returns can we see in the form of, it may not be monetarily, but it'll come out as well. The airport is much safer, that type of thing. What can you say for HTA? Give us an example of maybe some type of investment that uh, you've done or the HTA has done, and what type of returns has it yielded for the state of Hawaii?
Okay, well, let's start with just overall the impact of the visitor industry in total numbers. So, the visitor industry brings in $20.8 billion in visitor spending, which results in 2.4 billion in tax revenue. But to bring it down to some examples that are happening now. For example, we have our community enrichment programs, and actually, right now, we're taking on applications for the next from January to June of next year, 2025, and that's where our festivals and community programs, small tour operations, we fund them. Um, to support some technical assistance to provide funding to help them with their marketing and programs, and in return we've seen them increase in terms of the number of visitors that come there and support them, as well as the ability to take on some of these programs, like our Aloha Festivals program, one of those signatures, or many of those, say, like Koloa Plantation Days. That's also funded through the community enrichment programs and our signature festivals and events programs. So we've seen returns like that, more qualitative looking. A good example has been some of the fish pond projects here on Oahu, such as Heia Fish Pond, where they have a strong volunteerism program. We promote that on our website. People can sign up to go spend the day, as well as corporate groups. There's a lot of conventions and conferences or meetings that happen here, and they're looking for some corporate responsibility programs. So they go spend the day. The nonprofit gets manpower to help them build their walls, clean out the fish pond, etc., that they couldn't get with just residents alone. And typically, a corporation will also donate something to it. So there's a lot of return, and we are the ones making the connections between the visitor and also the people here on the ground and our residents.
Oh, thank you.
Daniel, Charlie and I have been doing this show. We really, during COVID, we had this show every night,
Mm.
7 nights a week. And so we followed the whole evolution of our state during COVID. And one of the things the local residents really enjoyed was when they got their resources back. They got their beaches back, the highways. They didn't have all that traffic. And at the time, Governor Green and much of the state administration was talking about the destination management plans, that we were looking for different types of visitors, and that we're going to look for less visitors that spend more money. How is that panning out? Is that still the directive or the direction that HTA is taking? And how is that reflected um, in your promotions throughout the world? Really, how is that working?
Okay, so yeah, the type of visitor, our target audience, is called the mindful traveler. So those are higher educated, so they understand the consequences of when they're traveling, understand about sustainability and environmentally conscious. They're also very active, meaning they're just not gonna come stay in their hotel or apartment that they've rented, but they're actually gonna go out and spend at a restaurant, um, buy various local made products to take home, or to actually subscribe to something later when they get back. So we call that the mindful traveler. Since they are highly educated, they typically will be spending more and have a higher disposable income. And then, you know, it has it's it's say for example, good Kauai right now, there are about 2% or less 2% less visitors than there were last year, and it's we are not at level that we were at 2019. Yet the spending is up, I think, 10% or almost 11% year to date, from the same time last year. So we are, if we can target, however, targeting, as you know, in those in marketing takes more effort and more money, because you have to hone down the kind of marketing and promotions that you're doing. You have to create more networks and relationships with the tour operators or travel agents and find the right set and group. But in the end, it alleviates the issues with visitors going down the wrong place, and we end up having to spend more on safety issues, or it cuts back on the amount of consumption and wasted water that's happening, say, at a hotel, and they're conserving of what they're using. So that costs less overall for everyone as well. So there is a good return if we continue to focus on those types of visitors. And we're doing it in all markets, not just the US, which is our largest market, but many of our Asian visitors and international visitors are much more uh, uh, adept at and have a strong aptitude at looking at these kind of sustainable types of ways that they travel. More conscious of what they're doing as well.
Yeah, so that data that you just mentioned, the two
Mhm.
percent less visitors, but 11% more funding. That's exactly what they were trying to achieve with that directive. So awesome. I do have a question here. Before I got to tell you, I was at the we stayed at the Kahala Hotel, Kahala Resort, which, under normal circumstances, I would not be able to stay there because it's so doggone expensive. But, when I checked into my room, the TV was on and it was playing this loop of videos that focused on the importance for our visitors to respect the culture. I thought that was fantastic. It was professionally done, and the message was awesome. So I think more hotels, the airlines. I think we all need to really focus on that. I do have a question here from Dana Moore. Is there any way for HTA and our healthcare industry to collaborate on incentivizing locals with roots in our community to invest in retaining local nurses and physicians to serve our communities? Is it still there? Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
hold on. Ready to go. Let me put it back up. Let's think outside the box on this together. We're facing a severe healthcare provider shortage. I'm not sure if that's something, Daniel, you can address, but I think you get the point. I think we're losing a lot of people away because cost of living and whatever. But
right.
is that something that HTA would be able to help us with?
Well, as part of the Department of Business and Economic Development, we are very conscious of ensuring that um, we work with our other sister agencies on housing, to be aware of how we can support through the visitor industry and drive creating revenue, but without impacting um resident resources, so that our other agencies can work on those areas. Yeah, and ensuring for us, it's more about a broader work of workforce development, so that our local residents here and our kids coming up through the system have understand the types of jobs that are available, and we try to make resources available to them so that they can train and find uh, great well-paying jobs in our industry. Yeah, so we're working just in the visitor industry, but we are conscious working in partnership with many of the other sectors that are under the purview of the Department of Business and Economic Development.
I had a question, what you just said, and my question is, with regards to infrastructure, we look at trying to bring in those thoughtful visitors, understanding the culture or wanting to understand the culture, but yet we have to supply some type of infrastructure for them to, whether it's through hotel rooms or whether it's through rental cars or modes of transportation. But right now, are there any other destinations that rival Hawaii? Because, you know, I get posed this question, this goes back a few years about how some areas have incorporated the gaming industry into what they find as a visitor's role. Because at certain peaks, visitors have asked, we enjoyed the sun and surf, but now it's nighttime. What do we do? That type of thing. Is that something that HTA is looking at, or feels that, as far as an infrastructure, what it can lend to? Because um, I'm not sure if at some point we're just gonna run out of fuel. You bring them here to enjoy Hawaii, but I'm pretty sure everyone's um, being wise about how they spend their monies, where they go and visit. What else? What can we pay similar to what Hawaii, but get more bang for the buck? Should they say? I mean, is there's something along that line? What I'm saying?
Well, I think I'll put it this way, that we're not at a point of diminishing returns where we have not run out of ideas and experiences or authentic experiences here in Hawaii yet, that we would have to create something or bring it from abroad to come here. Not to say if the state and overall resident sentiment supports things such as gaming, then will be directed to at least research and look into it. But right now, I think our focus is on continuing to uplift ideas that come and have developed here in Hawaii. We hear a lot more that our residents and community members, and we just came back from that CNHA conference of local community groups wanting to give their own tours, to tell their own stories, to work with it. We just had that health question, but there's a ancillary or related issues. Like, there's a lot of health providers in the sense of Lomi Lomi and La'au Lapa'au that want to share how that works, so that the aloha that we have in those kind of health industries can be taken back to how they back to their hometowns when they leave. But right now, as visitors, they can help to recover, rejuvenate themselves here, understanding our traditional practices. There's still a lot of that type, our agritourism um, products and development that can happen here that we haven't explored yet. And I think our focus has been trying to uplift the ideas that come from the community first in our approach.
Which I think is a really wise direction to take because you got to really get the community input. I think we have so much to offer here that some people, they have options if you want to gaming, for example, or horse racing or whatever. But I think the appeal of this place is really the natural beauty and just the ability or the ability or opportunity to, like you said, rest and rejuvenate. So yeah, I'm not sure if that will ever wear out for Hawaii. There are a couple of questions here. Tammy's first question is really about camping in parks. So I'm gonna save that for when we get our mayor and maybe some other
Mm.
council members on. But I did want to play this one here because this is something that I often ask myself as well. When I'm on the mainland, my two kids live on the mainland, one in Oregon, one in Texas. But when I look at flights coming to Hawaii, there's a lot of discount travel prices from certain places on the mainland to Hawaii, and the reverse is not true. I mean, it's very expensive for us to fly out to some of the states, but coming this way, many times you'll find some good deals. What is that? Is that I'm not sure that is in line with HTA's vision of the destination management and the picking the new type of visitor that spends more money. I'm not sure if you have any thoughts on that.
Um, there are a couple of reasons why there may be a disparity in the airfare. One typically is you see the offers, but they're actually combined with other partnerships and some kind of co-op. So maybe the airlines are actually working to promote something, but they know that their partner hotel or their partner other package is actually going to pick up some of that, build some of that revenue back for them, or they're working on that. Um, Also, there's more options I think coming this way instead of going the other way because um, they're marketing towards all of these, trying to build and test new markets, right? So that you may see some fares, the low fares, only because the airlines are trying to identify some new places to try, so they have some discounted fares along the way. But no, it. You ask about that. Is it a cheap airfare? You end up with a cheap visitor. That's not always the case, and that's always been a fallacy that I hear quite often. But that's how millionaires become millionaires. They know how to save and they know when to spend. So you hear a lot about people complain about some of those budget airlines or low cost carriers that we've seen from Asia or we've had in the past here. But on them are a lot of well spending visitors, well minded visitors, and they'll spend more in Hawaii. That's the most important part for us, right? Is when they get here, they spend the money here. The airfare is only one component of it. More importantly, is they're going to spend, they have more money to now spend on the hotel or to go out to eat some more or buy some more product. So it's hard to answer that question directly because there's so many factors that go into why sometimes you'll see cheaper fares coming from outside of Hawaii to here. Sorry, I can't get a direct answer.
No, no,
I just
that's a beautiful thing, and I just hope our viewers can really appreciate the fact that when our guests come on, there's there's no script, there's no advance notice of what we're going to ask. So yeah, I mean it's totally fine for some of these questions. In fact, I screen the questions, and if it's not directly related to HTA, when it's just because it's then it becomes speculation or an opinion. I really want to focus on HTA and their role here as it relates to that new direction. Because there was a time, Daniel, that the focus of the HTA was to promote the hell out of Hawaii in every market. I mean, I'm talking pre-COVID, way back, and I think the community wanted that. Right, we wanted more tourists here, wanted them to spend money, but COVID changed a lot of people's perspectives, and I think when that when they came out with this entire new direction of, hey, we're going to target now, we're going to be looking for specific types of visitors because we don't want to impact our residents, we don't want to impact our natural resources. And it's maybe it's a little too soon to tell, but based on the numbers you provided just for Kauai, I was skeptical that we would ever get there, but it sounds like it's working. So that's really good news for me anyway. For me.
yeah, and we're trying to build other ways of generating revenue. So um, before, especially like during COVID, or before that, people would just come, no plans, and then just pop into Hawaii. But that means they're not really spending, or they're not working with a guided tour where they can be safe, as well as they help support a local tour director or tour guide. So we have moved towards encouraging visitors to take on, to understand that you need to support. The best experience that you have here in Hawaii is if you, when you're here, you're supporting the local residents and you have them and listen to them, and so take the tour, spend the time in a organized attraction or activity. You'll get a better experience. We're supporting those attractions and activities, ensuring that it's a quality experience, their safety. We support them with cultural information and training. So by doing that, they'll spend more money in the local economy, um, as opposed to just sitting on the beach, like how they may have done in the past, or go hiking on their own and get into trouble. So those are ways that we're slowly shifting the concept of tourism here in Hawaii.
Let me ask you, with the recent conference that you attended on the Big Island,
Mhm.
can you share with our viewers your overall impression? And it I guess the reviews is been off the charts. It was something that was maybe overdue, and it was glad it happened. But can you share with those out there that didn't have the opportunity to attend that conference? What's your take on it?
So the panel that I was on, we'll start there and we can work outwards. So the panel that I was on was myself, representing the Hawaii Tourism Authority as the leader of the Hawaii Tourism Authority. There was also Aaron Salah, who is the new CEO of the Hawaii Visitors and Convention Bureau, which is our destination marketing organization in charge of the United States. And then also the CEO and head of the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement, Kuhio Lewis, as we also contract with Kilohana, which is the tourism arm of the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement. So the topic there was that Native Hawaiians are in the leadership positions in the visitor industry now. So first, there's that idea that Hawaiians are here now in these leadership positions. What's going to change, or what will happen going forward? So one was very important was that it's not just that we are Native Hawaiians, but we come with our Native Hawaiian indigenous values and understanding. So indigenous meaning it's been developed here locally because we are an isolated island community. So we understand the limited resources that we have. We understand that our long-term goals and visions are to support the community and not just to fatten pockets, because we have to live in this and our descendants and the future that we are responsible for. So that was a very powerful message that we had. The other is that as Native Hawaiians that know each other and work with each other, even before we were in the visitor industry, there is these interrelationships and interlocking dependencies in the areas that we've never really thought about before. In the past, it was very silo-ish. It's like, okay, here's the visitors, here's some industry partners. They're thinking of their goals, and then here you have nonprofits and communities thinking of their goals. But now it's all interrelated, and we can all benefit because working together, we can all rise up. The nonprofits and the residents give support to the corporations. The corporations, give back and support, and we work together for the common good. So I think that was a theme that was very important. I think as CNHA, as the Council on Native Hawaiian Advancement is really made up of many, many nonprofit organizations. So you have this strong initiative now that community and community organizations want to see change in Hawaii for a positive benefit. And they want to be at the table making and in the system, making change and seeing things for their benefit, not protesting, but actually making change and wanting to be there. And how can we use, for our specific topic, how can we use tourism as a change agent? How can our nonprofits benefit from the tourist that revenue that's coming in, uh, and align ourselves to be part of the tourism industry?
Yeah, I think that's very important to get the Native Hawaiian communities involved in all
Mhm.
aspects of our state. And there was not long ago, really. Time flies, but not long ago, there was talk at the legislature about defunding HTA, getting rid of HTA, and explain to us the benefits of HTA, and again, what you just talked about with the Native Hawaiian organizations being a very strong part of our tourism management programs. But what would be let's say HTA went away, what would be the impacts to our state and to our communities?
Well, as a state agency, our we are accountable first to the residents and the residents' well-being, right? Um, if you didn't have this state agency, state organization in the mix and overseeing what's happened, um, it could easily sway with just a few influences, and large corporations could be working towards that. Or, like you mentioned before, it was just sell Hawaii. But no, we're here to look out for balancing how the visitor industry can help benefit. So that means the visitor industry has to succeed, but it only can succeed and be successful if it can bring along the residents and support the community so that they can also succeed. And I think that's an important intervention that we as the tourism authority looks at. It's actually balancing and holistically looking at all parts, and also playing the the part that people don't know is what happens in the back. So we are constantly talking to DLNR, um, identifying county issues that bring up may not be a priority right now for the say county agency or a DLNR area, but we've seen it's the visitors and the residents in those hot spots are severely impacted. So we bring attention, we bring the people together to try to find joint solutions. I think if we didn't play this role as a facilitator and a um, aggregator of all the different parties that have interest, it would get very low priority because everybody else is moving to do other kind of things that they want in their industry and sectors as well. So those are some of the roles that we do, yeah, as the Hawaii Tourism Authority that would get lost.
Your organization's name is the Hawaii Tourism Authority. So Makaala here is asking, what quote authority do you actually have? I don't know if
Yeah.
there's any authority, but that's actually a pretty interesting question because of, again, that's the name of your organization.
And yeah, when you look at what other people envision authority to be, we are not currently, and I want to say currently, not like that. Um, I recently did a kind of a 2 week internship with in Tonga, working with the Ministry of Tourism in Tonga and the Tourism Authority of Tonga, and they do things that have authority, and we're trying to strive to do some of that. Like, for example, quality assurance, which we just started a program of. We don't have state authority, but we're using it through marketing and promotion. So we are actually asking industry partners such as hotels, airlines, attractions, and tour operators to submit their operations and plans to us to review, to ensure that they meet the high quality standards that we set, both the environmental standards as well as workforce support and uh, community and visitor, kind of service levels. And we will start to rate them and ensure that when visitors come here, they go to those types of our industry partners or companies. And that's in other countries and other states. That would be something the authority would do and license or give them a permit. Similarly, some of the tour boat operators or something might have to go through a permitting system. And in other states, they may have a tour operator, certification program where they can then get a license to operate. Uh, we we have worked to introduce legislation to start to add some of that authority to our or those types of responsibilities, and we will continue to keep developing programs to support those types of roles.
I'm
Well,
not sure if you can see the questions, Daniel. Can you see the comments that they come in? Oh, you cannot. I'm sorry. Um, I did want to put this Mr. or Mrs. Kahele, Lynn Chorus Noni Kahele. I actually lean on the literature I gathered through HTA. I looked into it prior to traveling back home. I believe she lives in, or he lives in, North Carolina from an earlier comment. I love the small kind info shared in flight when we fill out the agricultural forms. Be a good time to add info to announce. I think having HTA be a part of that information sharing with visitors that come in. Makala is you mentioned earlier about hotspots and getting involved and working through some hotspots. You have an example of that maybe that occurred somewhere that HTA got involved with one of the hotspots or
so
a hot issue.
so we'll first start on Kauai. One of the success stories has been Haena State Park, and the whole idea of a the transformation of that state park. It was community driven, um, and it actually created a better visitor experience. But at the same time, it also increased pride of residents and a new sense of pride um, among the residents that are involved in supporting the Haena program, that work on the shuttles, that see that their home areas and beaches coming are clean and the traffic is less so things can get around, the emergency vehicles can come through. So that was a long-term project, worked with many in the county and our representative Nakamura as well. And then we funded pilot projects along the way with the shuttle, as well as continued to convene the various meetings that needed to happen as the community worked through the process. We also start to pilot it on Hawaii Island, the Pololu Trail, and what we call the Rangers or the community-based system that happened there. So the people of the area surrounding Pololu and North Kohala, we help support initial funding, getting them some startup funding so they could pay the residents who live in that area to get tools, equipment as well. And actually, DLNR recently took it on into being kind of the steward program as another prime example. In that one, like just like Hyena, the visitor experience is so much better because not only do you see a cleaner place, less traffic, but at the same time, they meet the residents of the area. They've learned even more stories of the residents and their experience of that land and the Aina that's there. Stories that you wouldn't get in a guidebook or just exploring on your own on the website or something like that. So those are two examples of pilot programs that we started and it has taken off and really worked well.
Here's a request, I should say. It's not a real question, but a request about the culinary scholarship program that you folks funded.
So this is a new program just started. It Kapiolani Community College recently became a Culinary Institute of America certified and supported program. The CIA, the ones with all the top chef guys that you see on TV. Um, so, in order to elevate the the quality of the experience for in the hotels and such, we've actually supported funding or scholarships so that hotel and restaurant chefs midline, so they it's very difficult for them to take time off to go to these high-end chef programs, or maybe they didn't get the skilling back when they were coming through, but now they can at KCC. So through these scholarships they can take time to go to this high quality program, learn a couple skills, and more importantly, that CIA program is focused on how to take local food ag products and convert it into very high end, you know, quality product that they can then serve in their restaurant. So it's very circular in the sense that if you train the chefs, then the chefs will support the local products that are produced here in Hawaii, which then support the local residents that are there out farming and everything. So that whole process, and we were just one part, but just that initial step to push the chefs will now create that cycle to help the farmers as well.
Okay, you heard local people.
Nice.
You just heard something very, very great that's happening. If you're an aspiring chef, I would say take advantage because hot dogs and grilled cheese can only go so far. So if you can get to that next level, by all means, that's
You
that's an
realize there's
important program. Yeah.
farmers are producing great stuff, but it's if you're not familiar with it or you haven't had the time, you may not have the time or thought about how to actually integrate it, incorporate it into what you're doing, and to learn additional skills in order to make elevate what your things that you're putting out. Yeah, that's great.
Well,
Oh,
I will
and
say
yes.
this. You know, I will say this though. I know it's hard for local guys like myself, over 150 pounds, using as a starting point. That when you come to these culinary programs, you have to learn to serve in small portions. And I don't know, that's something hard to negotiate with.
Yeah,
But it's
it,
intensive.
we're at the Kahala, and I sat next to Bernard, and it's like they bring the little dish, and it's like Bernard asked the guy, "Brother, can I have one more?" And they were very, very generous, and they gave us more. They gave us more.
I, you always bring up the Kahala, right? So that's Joe.
Oh, only because
Joe.
I just came from there. Yeah, I mean,
But
when I checked out, the lady said, "Oh, we hope you come back." I said, "Probably not." With the conference rate was very, very reasonable, but yeah, the Kamaina rate was like almost $400 a night. So yeah, I will not be staying there again. Not unless there's another conference.
I wanted to bring an example because Joey Barra, KS grad, is like people don't realize. We had that meeting, right? I mean, that panel discussion at the CNHA conference of Native Hawaiians in leadership and locals being in leadership roles. But there's quite a few now GMs of hotels that are locals came up through this system and are now making decisions. And like you said, you felt a little more comfortable than it was before, right? It felt more local. There was food there. People are very friendly and address, and they support their staff to do how we would live, and teach them those values and that we've grown up living with. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say the experience was wonderful. I mean, the people there were amazing. Is and every toilet in that entire hotel has a bidet. I, I I I never even try use them. I still never try. I was scared, but
Yeah.
it was,
Well, when you go to Japan, get plenty like that too.
yeah. I just scared push the button. I scared could stop it, Charlie. Stop it, Charlie.
No, I'm gonna tell you right now, the bidet. I think you worried because you think it might have a camera at the end, so when you press the button, go and click and take a
Well,
picture. But it doesn't
I
work
just
that way.
don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what to expect. It might like scare me. It's like, oh my god. Hey, oh yeah, stay here, Steph. Charlie, the HTA supports a musician at the airports, which actually takes helps them take care of their families, and it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Oh man, you know who? So Olomana's Osorio, right? Osorio,
John Osorio.
John Osorio. His son works for one of the council members on Oahu. So he was part of the staff, but his dad came and played music last night. Him and the son.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. I mean, it's, to see a father and a son just having fun. There was a Kani Kapila, he wasn't paid. He just went up there and started playing some of those old music. And man, I actually shot a little bit of video. I should have got it queued up so we could play it tonight. But that guy's voice is magic, and his son is just like him, just like him.
Yeah.
You know,
Talented family. Talented family.
yeah, I can remember when this group played for Mel's birthday. Unbelievable musicians, unbelievable.
It was Uncle Charlie and his band. It was like, hey, I know we're running out of time, but I gotta ask this question, and I'm not sure if you can answer, but the Hawaiian Alaska merger. I'm not sure how much HTA had anything to do with that, or I shouldn't say anything to do with it, but had any involvement in that, but it finally got approved, and it's going to happen. It was questionable, right? For a little while, it was like they had some issues and some roadblocks along the way. So it's done. It's final. The Hawaiian Air CEO is gone. He got a nice little paycheck, but we're brand new management leadership. How is that going to affect the state of Hawaii going forward? Does HTA have a position on that?
So, for us, just to start at the merger itself, when it was going through and working its way through, our main concern has been that the employees and the residents, continue to find positive outcomes in terms of the merger at the end. That those who wanted to retain their jobs or have roles and others have supported, as well as what we saw that came out of some of the ruling was to ensure that communities service to certain communities is still retained, right? So we were very glad that that happened. We are still doing our research every day. They announce more of how that may affect. We are looking forward to working. Well, we've always been working both Alaska and Hawaiian, and now with this new model, we'll see how that works best for us. Of course, we work with all the airlines and giving them suggestions and working with their route development, as well as pointing out where we see the need for more service in various routes. So we'll continue to work with them to ensure that both the residents here in Hawaii have service outbound, and more importantly, in our concern is ensure that visitors have access to come back to Hawaii to have a vacation and experience the Hawaiian Islands.
Yeah, I mean they had the airline expert on the news. I forget his name, but apparently he knows a lot about mergers, and he felt comfortable that the terms of the merger was going to be beneficial for the employees. So it's just we'll wait and see. I just hope that they. My fear has always been when you bring these two giants together, now you have a really big giant. It's going to impact the cost of airfares for our local residents. That was always my concern. I don't know how this thing will pan out. I'm not sure, but I hope at the end of the day, our local residents don't suffer because of. I mean, you're taking away competition now, right? So we'll see what happens. I understand they're going to keep their brands. Hawaiian will stay Hawaiian, and Alaska for the near future. Not sure how this thing will work out.
Yeah, I've seen, Alaska, it's very similar in this to Hawaiian in the sense of it services a lot of those rural communities. So, what they've explained is they have similar values in the sense of ensuring that communities do have the service, they don't lose the service, ensure that, they understand that air service is a lifeline for many of the smaller communities and areas and the islands. So at least they're coming in with that mindset as we start to work through the merger. I suppose I think if there was another airline, it would be quite different
Yeah,
take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
I think if we were to look at the U.S. as a whole, on the West Coast, you have modes of travel. You can go by train, you can go by air, you can drive. But Hawaii being an island state, you have no choice but to go by air
Hmm.
most of the times. And so I can say with all honesty, just having exposure at the airports and intertwine or intermingling with the Hawaiian employees, they are pretty confident. They're pretty confident. Some of them came from Aloha,
Mm.
and they had some horror stories that when Aloha was out, it was a very sad day because there was nothing there to pick them up, right? So they came over to Hawaiian, and since Aloha's time till now, they're there, and they see that this will probably be different and better for them. So I'm glad they have that the internal feeling because it like we always say, it takes a village, right? And I told them, hey, you guys just stick together and you're gonna get through this. Don't worry about the politics on the top. That's for the upper level management to worry about. You're the worker bees. They cannot survive without you folks. That's a given. Just keep on providing the service that you have. And sometimes in my business we get called because something's happening on a plane, somebody lost their patients or whatever. And I keep on telling the employees, hey, remember now, to show aloha and smile is free. You don't have to pay, nor do you get paid for it. So a smile will go a long way. Just as long you keep that close to your heart, everything, we talk about de-escalating any hostile situation, a smile will go a long way. You'd be surprised. So I think they're comfortable, and I think it will work out.
Great.
That's my take on it. That's my take on it. Yeah.
well, we sure hope so. Daniel, that hour went by really quick, man. I
You
appreciate
did.
your time again. I know it's late. Any closing thoughts for our viewers?
Well, I want to throw one last thing out. So
Sure.
we are having our State of Hawaii Tourism Conference, September 30th through October 2nd. Right, yeah. So you can just go to hawaiitourismauthority.org, sign up for the conference. It's not just for those in the visitor industry, as I mentioned, nonprofits, small businesses that want to get involved in tourism, to utilize tourism to its benefit. Also to learn, if you're in real estate or banking or just everyone here has some tie into the visitor industry. You can learn a lot more. Some of our keynote speakers, Alex Lasry, who's our assistant secretary for tourism, as well as Fred Dixon, who's the CEO of Brand USA, which is the federal level marketing organization, will be coming all the way from DC, both of them, to talk to us, tell us what is happening at the federal level and the movement internationally for tourism. So great. Lots of other great speakers too. Mahalo for that. And mahalo for having me here. It's been fun with you too.
Yeah, it's a little more serious than normal. Normally Charlie, we didn't even hear Charlie laugh once. He has this laugh that it's starting. We need to. Yeah, he has this laugh that is so contagious. And
Oh, I'm sure we can have it.
Well, I like to say, first of all, thank you so much, Daniel, for accepting the offer. And I think for me, uh, I kind of be the devil advocate and say, if I was to ask a question, this is what I want to see what he's gonna say. And you pretty much answered a lot of things that a lot of people out there might have been thinking about in a very positive way. And I just thank you for your service. Thank you for being the leader of the interim leader, as you say that you are, over at HTA. And I hope that that position for you grows, continues to grow. You're
Oh,
doing a bang up job. So thank you so very, very much.
All right.
we,
Again, Daniel, thank you very much. The, our friends over at Suds, I don't know if you can even see this, but yeah, this thing focuses. Anyway, Suds Car Wash, my good friend Jay Morata has given me a bunch of these free car wash. There he goes with his candy bar, man. Um, so because you guys know that we are going to be migrating to YouTube because Facebook is being they're being problematic with these streams. So get over to YouTube and subscribe to my channel. And the address is right there on the screen. For all of you that
Uh oh.
oh, we
Uh
lost
oh.
lost
wrong one,
Mel.
there we go. Yeah, sorry. And we'll get you guys these tickets so you can go get your car wash at Suds. Mahalo, Jay Morata at Suds. Appreciate you, Charlie. Thank you again.
No, thank you, my
Daniel,
brother.
go get some sleep. I suspect it's going to be a long day tomorrow for you.
Yeah,
We
we have the governor
appreciate.
coming in. He flies in the morning. We'll have a lot of great time with him as well.
Yeah, well, I will be flying out tomorrow with my wife. We're heading over to Austin, Texas to spend 10 days. So, Charlie, we will not have a show next week because the time difference is too much. So, we're going to skip next week. We'll be back the week after that. But yeah, we're
Okay.
going to enjoy my grandson's first birthday party. We're going to have a barbecue, Texas
Barbecue,
style
awesome barbecue.
barbecue with some Hawaiian kalua pig. We're packing up some smoked meat. We're just going to have a whole local style Texas barbecue 1 year birthday. So, appreciate you guys. You guys take care. Stay safe. God bless. Until next time, folks. Ahui ho.
Ahoy,
Ahoy
Thanks,
ho.
ho.
Daniel. Good night.
Thank you, Daniel.